The fur trade was a worldwide industry of buying and selling animal furs. Beginning in the 17th century, Europeans began to develop a fashion craze. They wanted felt hats made of beaver skins. Fortunately for the Europeans, indigenous people had furs to trade. So the Europeans traveled to Canada, and in exchange for furs, Europeans gave indigenous people tools, weapons, ammunition, etc. These items included guns, metal cooking utensils, and cloth. The furs that indigenous people traded were made from beaver, otter, raccoon, bear, fox, mink, and moose skins. Indians and French traders were also in the trading industry. The Indians would give the French traders furs in exchange for alcohol. The fur trade is the ultimate reason why Europeans explored and colonized Canada and the United States. Author Peter Andreas says, "In the process, the company played a lead role in developing and settling the vast western frontier, including the outposts of St. Paul, Detroit, Milwaukee, and Chicago." This company was the American Fur Company, which was approved by Thomas Jefferson. The market of buying and selling furs became the most critical industry in New France. The history of the fur trade is interesting because while it did not become a popular industry until the early 17th century, fur trading dates back to the beginning of time. According to author Eric J. Dolan, the roots of the fur trade go back to the prehistoric times. Since the beginning of time, humans have traded furs because they were reliable to protect them from the harsh environment and elements in the world. Ancient Egyptians were also involved in the fur trade, who would trade with the Arabians and the Phoenicians. The Egyptians traded for furs that they would color with vegetable dyes. The expanding fur trade helped to bring countries and cultures into a connected world. Traders from all corners of Europe exchanged various furs during medieval times. Author Eric J. Dolan says, "From Germany, Ireland, and Scotland to London, from Spain, North Africa, and Sicily to Paris, from Sweden, Portugal, and Bulgaria to Bruges, and in all other directions as well." In preparation for the furs to go on the market, they were cleaned, cut, and stitched into a wide variety of products, including gloves, bedding, hats, and robes. Then they were colored with different dyes. The fur trade has significantly affected our world today, beginning with religion. The fur trade brought people to Christianity. Religious missionaries were part of the group that explored Canada. These missionaries went and traded so that they could spread the gospel to indigenous people. Secondly, if the Europeans had not had a desire for fur hats, Canada would not be how it is today. Author Michael Payne says, "Many of Canada's cities were founded on the fur trade." The structure of Canada was developed by the fur trade, so without it, the world would be entirely different. Also, the growth of European empires would not exist today without the fur trade. The Europeans were very rich and thrived off buying furs. But if they had not traded for furs, they would not have expanded into Canada and built their empires. Indigenous people's lives were also majorly impacted by the fur trade. If not for Europeans wanting furs, they would not have been able to acquire weapons, tools, and ammunition needed to thrive in the future. Lastly, the culture of the world is and was greatly influenced by the Europeans. The Europeans' desire for fashion helped spread them to Canada and the United States, which influenced economic and political relations between them and indigenous people. As mentioned by Michael Payne, it also helped found many of Canada's cities. Also, the trading between Europeans and indigenous people helped establish relationships and bring our world together. All in all, it's safe to say that the fur trade has significantly affected the world today. To come to an end, it's evident that the fur trade has made a huge impact on the world. From trading furs for protection, to trading for alcohol, to trading for fashion, the world has changed a lot. Without the fashion craze, Western civilization would not have happened, and the relationships established between colonies would not exist. As I close, the fur trade was incredibly important in shaping the world today. Thank you.